Alright, I'm starting this. I thought I had this on. Again, it's not on. Okay, it's on now because I'm looking at it. I'm going to the bank. It's 10:30 a.m. December 29th. I'm going to buy some shampoo. I'm going to go to the dollar store instead of the ShopRite. It's a little farther away, the Dollar Tree. It occurred to me, and I have to go to the bank to get a little bit more money. However, I only have $1 left in my account. It occurred to me yesterday. I said I had $15 in paper money when I left here, and I got $4 out of the bank. I never showed you, I never documented that I had $15, right? So, and I said I got $4 out of the bank. So I should have had $19 in paper money, and I only had 18. So the dollar is missing. And I just checked my wallet. It's not there. So what I'm going to do is just document how much money I have now, because I need $1 and plus money for tax for some shampoo. Yesterday, I don't even know if you can read this, but this is my TD Bank receipt. It says $4 withdrawal, 10:45 a.m. 12/29/14. Okay, 12/29. That's when it was effective because I went on Saturday, right? I went on Saturday. Oh no, I went yesterday. No, I went on Saturday. That's right. Didn't I? Yeah. I didn't go anywhere yesterday. Oh, wait a minute. No, yesterday? Now I'm getting confused. Where the hell did I go? No, so I did go yesterday. I went yesterday. In any case, it doesn't matter because the upshot is the deposit is effective on Monday, the following Monday. I went on the weekend, right? Okay. So now, here's the money I have because people take money out of my pocketbook. They zap it out of my pocketbook. Here's what I have. I have a quarter, 25. 2 dimes, 35, 45. 2 nickels, 55. 5 pennies, 60. 5 more pennies, 65. 5 more pennies, 70. 5 more pennies, 75, 85. Now I'm missing something because I had 86, so I'm missing something. Already I'm missing something. Because I had 86. Didn't I? Yeah, I had 86. So something's missing here. Already something's missing. Because when I counted it before and put it in here, in my wallet in the zipper, I had 86. So now I have 76. Alright, so I have 76. You know, I don't know. Somebody took it, basically. So, but I documented that I have 76 cents. I need $1.07, so I'm going to take out 30. I have 76 cents. Okay? 35, 45, 55. Yeah, okay. So I have 76 cents. I need 31 cents. So I'll take out 35 cents. 35 cents I'll take out of my account in which I have $1, so I should have 65 cents in my account. So we'll see what happens when I get to the dollar store. Yeah, they just took it out. I just let me check over here. I'm sure it's not there. Let me see. So I'm ready to try to fake me out again. So I would go there thinking I only needed 26 cents and I wouldn't have enough money. Alright, so I'll get out 36, 5 cents. And we'll see what magic thing happens by the time I get to the dollar store. Okay, I'm going now. I don't know. Obviously, I don't need my card, so that's good. Here's Jack. Hi, Jack. Hey. Oh, and something about my registration and my car registration is due in January. But yeah. Okay, yeah. So it's yeah, 2016. 2016, okay? 2016, which is not next month, it's next year. So I don't have to get it inspected, but I do have to get my registration, which is about $45. It's due the end of January. Alright, I'm throwing that out. I'll leave my garbage can here for now. So I'll just go this way. It's like it's like, I don't know, 40 degrees, I think, and it's overcast and street. Okay, I just saw this truck go by. This truck is telling me to go down this way, or putting the idea in my mind. Let's see. I can go down this way. Yeah, my father. Yeah, I told you how my father did it. Tell you how my father and I bought a sailboat, and we took sailing lessons when I first started at this. It was a little sailboat, Star Ledger, when I first started working here. When I lived briefly in Beechwood with my parents before the whole psych ward series of psych ward hospitalizations. I did live briefly with my parents a couple times before that. Anyway, okay, so we're down this way. Oh, so this is good. I can go this way and I don't have to go over those. If I have my card, I don't have to go over those gravel stones. I want to go this way. Yeah, so I lived here. I lived with my parents. What happened was, I was a real job hopper and I jumped around a lot in jobs. One point, I worked for Commodity World News, which was a wire service that, and they also had a magazine that covers the commodities, futures trading. And so for that job, I had to go to the World Trade Center, commodities trading center, and interview traders, ask them, about the trading activity, etc. At that time, actually, Trading Places came out. I think that was around the time Trading Places came out. with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd, right? Jamie Lee Curtis. So that was like, it was 1984, because I know that in December 1984, I went on a Sunday, because I used to go to the theater by myself a lot, frequently. That's where I usually come in. I went to the theater by myself frequently to New York. So one Sunday in December 1984, I went to New York to see the play Husbandry. I was looking this up recently, and I believe the playwright was Patrick Tovat. But coming home, that time I was living on Park Avenue in Lyndhurst, and coming home, I was walking through the Port Authority, and I went up to my, I was just sort of like not paying attention, to my surroundings. I was looking at my playbill, whatever. I walked up to my, up the stairs to when my bus was supposed to come in. I was there by myself. A couple of black guys approached me, and the guy sits down next to me, and he holds out his hand, and he's got like a pen knife in his hand, and he said, "Give me your wallet," or something. Yeah, and he said, "You will get hurt," and so basically, I had bought my bus ticket, and I had it in my hand. I bought it already. So, and he like, what? When I think in retrospect, he sort of reminded me of Eddie Murphy, and that I thought there was a scene in that movie, Trading Places, where Eddie Murphy had like a gold-covered tooth, or gold covering on his front tooth. I think this guy had that. I'm pretty sure I remember that. But so he said, "You will get hurt," but he held out in his hand. It was like a pocket, like a pen knife, like a Boy Scout knife, and it was closed. He didn't have it open; it was closed. But anyway, so I gave him my wallet, and there were two of them actually, so then they were giving me this house stairs saying, "You sure you don't have anything else? You don't have anything else you're holding out on me or whatever?" So I said no. So they walked out the ramp, the exit door, like they're going down the ramp, the exit ramp that the bus would drive down, So all I had was I still had my pocketbook. I didn't have my wallet. I had my pocketbook. So I went down, and I had my bus ticket in my hand. So I went down to the main level, and I went to the Port Authority police, and I told them what happened. And so the guy, one of the policemen, said, "You want to drive around, see if you can find the guy?" That seemed kind of weird to me, but anyway, so we did, and we drove all around. And the police car, we drove around Times Square. If you can imagine, yeah, I'm going to find him here, but anyway. And it was weird because the people were like, yeah. It's like as I was looking out from the car, they were like, I don't know, it just seemed like sneering, or, like, I don't know. So, later that month, so I went to work the next day. My office was in downtown Manhattan, close to the World Trade Center. I had to go there every day, Commodities World Trade Center, to interview traders. So I came to work. Well, I had to. No, okay. Let's not jump ahead. I went home. So anyway, the upshot, we drove around. Of course, we didn't find the guy. I went and got my bus. I went home. I got home. I called my brother up. I said I just got mugged. My father happened to be there. I don't know why. My brother lived in Rutherford at that time, which was a neighboring town. And he came over, he and my father came over, I believe, and they gave me some money. Because I had no money. So, later that month, and now that I look it up, was the infamous Bernie Goetz subway vigilante shootings. Was also Bernie Goetz shot some black guys on the subway. I don't remember the exact details. They were, I don't know, they were hassling him or something, I'm not sure, but the big controversy was whether it was justified self-defense or not, and I forget what happened. I forget what happened with the whole case. But that was that same month. So, after that, I really, it really distressed me quite a bit. So, I actually quit that job in January '85, and I just, just sort of like let it, didn't have the didn't feel the initiative to dive back into the job market. So I wound up moving down here with my parents. They lived in Beechwood. I think it was 11 Beechwood Boulevard was the address. It was Beechwood Boulevard. I believe it was 11 was the number. And it's a nice house, a very nice house. And I moved in with them, and I was only there like a couple months, and my parents were fighting, and they got divorced. And I told you about that part. So my brother bought this house that I'm in now from my mother, and he had his own mortgage to pay, in his house in Rutherford, and he bought this house from my mother. I moved in with her because I was here, I was here, and I had no job. So one point my brother called up, I believe it was like November, December of '85. And he said, well, for one thing, he told my mother he had to sell the house because he couldn't keep up the payments anymore. And she, oh, don't cry, it's okay. So he couldn't keep up the payments anymore. And she looked like she was wiping her eyes. I guess she was just pushing her hair out of her eyes. He couldn't keep up the payments anymore. And he told, I don't remember, okay, he said that, but I do know he told me I had to start paying rent. I had no job, but I was upset about that. So, that was why they came down here. My brother, sister-in-law, came down to visit my mother. Christmas of '85, that was when Out of Africa came out. So to avoid their visit, I think I wrote about this already. I went to the movie theater, as a local theater, Toms River, and I sat through Out of Africa 2 times. I sat through it once and then the rerun. And then when I came to make sure I avoided my brother, because I was mad about that. And when I came out, my battery in my car was dead. That's when I had the white Mazda. So then, I was so upset about that, I wanted to get the hell out of here. So I thought I would go to California, and my mother gave me $1,000 for the airfare to go to California. I went for a week in January 1986. I went there and I applied for some stupid clerical jobs. I went to UCLA campus. My cousin Joan, she was an instructor at my late cousin Joan. She was an instructor, journalism instructor at UCLA, based on her, her experience. She had a lot of experience. She had worked for first she got an internship at the LA Times when she was in college. So then she dropped out of college. She worked at the Chicago Tribune and the Denver Post. Then she came back to California. But at the time, so then she wanted to finish her college degree. So at the time that she was teaching the journalism class at UCLA, she was also finishing her bachelor's. And I remember she took me to one of her lectures. Going the other way. She took me to one of her lectures. I forget what the course was. And we went to Will Rogers Ranch. Will Rogers, yeah. We went to my uncle, her father, Uncle Joe, took us to Disneyland. Me, Joan, her roommate Jane. I wrote about that. She had a roommate Jane who also worked at the Los Angeles Times, and they owned a house together. She had I was there for a week, and I just said, well, you can't just go around here. I got to go home and get a job. So I went home, and then I believe it was April '86. I got a job at PR Newswire in New York. And Joan passed away. Joan was a couple years older than me. When I told you, I mentioned that this morning. The whole indecent proposal, a weird situation, thing with the lawyer, me seeing things in the AP headlines and all this, and holding myself up in my condo. Well, in December '93, because I quit my job, I believe it was September '93, PR Newswire. So I had a condo, mortgage to pay and no job. And my cousin Joan died in December, I believe it was. No, it might have been in July. I think it was July of that year. July '93. My cousin Joan died. So, and I wrote the story about how she died. So I worked at a lot of different places. I worked at I quit the Star Ledger in '83 because I just got, I just had this not the most practical attitude, just sort of rebellious attitude against authority figures. And my boss at the Star Ledger, Mike Ascalese, a business editor, was criticizing me because I wasn't coming up with enough of my own story ideas, and the burden was too much on him. I should come up, and that was not my strong suit. And I actually never really liked journalism. I thought it was mostly a pain in the ass. because you call people up. They don't. Half of them don't get back to you. The ones that do tell you BS. You basically don't find anything worth knowing unless you're lucky enough to have good sources or whatever. So anyway, I quit the Star Ledger. I got a job, Woman's World magazine, as a freelancer. They were in Englewood Cliffs. As a freelancer, I got $300 a week. And this is like BS. Nothing I did. I was a business writer, and the editor there, John Cotter, he had come from the New York Post. He was an editor at the New York Post, and he hated Women's World. He had been at Women's Day too, Women's World. There he was at Women's World, and he hated it, and I didn't like it either. And I don't think that the editor-in-chief, his name was Dennis Neild, I think, liked my style of writing either, because I think it was having somebody else rewrite what I was writing. First of all, I don't even know if that magazine's still around, but I don't know how to write that BS. That's BS. So, I only worked there for the summer, and then I went to Club Med, the Bahamas. Then I got a job at wait a minute, I'm trying to think now. I got a job at the Insurance Information Institute, downtown New York, and you had to take a course in insurance at the College of Insurance, and that's like more fun than a mausoleum. But I didn't like that place. I didn't like it. I just basically bouncing around, and I didn't like anything I was doing. Then I went to Boating Industry magazine. They were like in Midtown, and that was a trade magazine. And the editor was Olga Badillo. She had been there for like 30 years. Like, she started out, just a editorial worker of some kind. She was the editor, and the editor-in-chief was Charles. I don't remember his name, his last name, but he was an obese man, and he was close friends with Walter Cronkite, because Walter Cronkite had a boat, I guess, and so he was, read the magazine and everything. So she sent me once on to cover some seminar up in Massachusetts. I guess it was somewhere, and I had to make my own travel arrangements. So you have to go into Boston, and then you take a commuter flight somewhere. Anyway, to make a long story short, I took the wrong flight and I ended up in the wrong place. So I get off the commuter plane, wherever the hell I was, I don't remember the name of the city, and I find out I'm like 80 miles away from where I'm supposed to be. And so we there was a taxi driver at the airport, and this guy and I shared a cab into town or whatever. This guy was going somewhere, and the taxi driver asked me, "Where are you going?" And I told him, and he said, "You're not even close." So I said, "Well, can you drive me there?" So he drives this guy wherever he's going. The guy gets out of the cab and he says to me, "Good luck." Well, we drove. This is at nighttime, like 80 miles. It was something like that. I know the cab fare was it was 80 something dollars. Maybe it wasn't that far. But anyway, the cab fare was close to $100. And this cab driver, stopping periodically, his gas gauge wasn't working, so he was stopping to stick like this wooden stick in his gas tank to see how much gas he had. So that was fun. And it was just a BS conference of I don't know, seminars about something to do with boating. And then she also sent me to some kind of a boating dealers convention in Atlanta. I went there. But I never really flew very much. And I hate flying, and I never really flew very much. I haven't flown since that time. Because my first time on a plane, believe it or not, was when I was a reporter for the Star Ledger and covering the inauguration of People's Express Airlines operating out of Newark, which is now defunct. So they, oh, there's a black cat. So I had to cover that. So they had a inaugural press flight from Newark to Washington D.C. and back. And I was like scared shitless. I was never on a plane before. It was just, me and a couple of reporters, and the PR person, whoever that was. Yeah, so we went there. I walked down the length of the airport and came back. Then we got back on the plane, and that was it. So then I worked for boating industry and I got, again, I would get disgruntled, mad about something, and I would just quit. But I usually had another job lined up. And so in the fall of 84, that's when I went to Commodity World News. And then, yeah. Hi, buddy. Hi, bud. So, and that's when I got mugged. I told you that much. I got mugged. And so then I quit that job in January 85. For a year I didn't work. And then I got a job at PR Newswire in April of 86. And I said, this is not really good. I can't really do this. Can't really quit a job if you don't have a job. It's not good. So then when I got the job at PR Newswire, I moved into an apartment I hated in Fairview. Yeah, I was always like getting into little hassles with my, before that, I lived a couple places. That's another place. Another thing, I always was changing apartments all the time, like every year. At one point, I was living in my last apartment before I moved into my condo. Was on Orient Way in Rutherford. I hated that apartment. I was living there when I got the New York Post one day, and on the front page was John Carter is dead. John Carter, the former editor at the New York Post, the editor at Woman's World when I was there, he had, after I left, gone back to the New York Post. And it was a front page. His picture. It was the front page of the Post. I was shocked. I was totally shocked because he was a young guy. He was like 48. But so he, according to the story, he was leaving the Post to go to the Daily News, and he was about to start his job at the Daily News, and he died. I think he had a heart attack. It said. that was right as I was, and I hated that apartment. And right after that, I moved into my condo in Mount Arlington, which was far away. I mean, it was far away. I was very picky. I couldn't find a place I really liked. I always had like this, I don't know, I guess a germ phobia type of thing. And, I wanted something that was nice, I didn't like smelling other people's cooking smells, stuff like that. I didn't like that. So, and this condo, it wasn't a separate unit. I mean, it was like inside a larger building, like an apartment, but it was more private. So, it was Seasons Glen in Mount Arlington. I told you the story about the lawyer, that whole thing. But at that time, the price of it was like somewhere in the range of $90,000, and I was able to put down a $5,000 deposit, down payment, and of which I had a little bit of money in my PR Newswire 401k. I don't know what it was, a few thousand, and then I asked my mother for the rest, and I said I would pay her back. So I put down $5,000. Of course, you're way the hell away from everything, because so what I did was I would drive when I was still in New York, drive to Clifton to the park and ride, take the bus into the Port Authority, take the subway to like Citicorp Center, something, which was around 53rd and Lex, and then my building was on 59th and Lex. So it was a long commute. And when I closed on the condo in November of 91 or 2, 92, I believe. And simultaneously then, during that, I wasn't living there very long, and my company moved to Jersey City. So that, in that case, Harborside Financial Center, so I could just drive. But, so, so I believe it was 92 now. I don't think I lived there a year. No, I didn't live there a year. Well, I lived there a little over a year. So it was like November. I think it was around Thanksgiving, 92. I closed on the condo, and I was the first and only the first person to live there, to move in there. The whole fucking place. I was the first person. When I moved in, I was living there alone, totally alone by myself. And Candy, when I first moved in, she came to my door one day, and she had a basket of some goodies and some non-alcoholic sparkling wine or champagne or something. And she said, "Oh, I told the police that you're here, so they know you're here." Yeah. So I said, "Oh, thanks." It sounds kind of like worrisome, right? Anyway. So, and I said before, why did I think that I wrote that sketch for my class? The condo manager trying to rip off a tenant. I thought, during that whole, some of, 93. It seemed like I was seeing weird things, like I said, in the AP headlines, on the TV, on the radio. There was, in February '93 was the first World Trade Center bombing, which was, and then, I would come home, and I would find like a little worm in my toilet. A little worm, alive, wiggling around in my toilet. Yeah, so who put it there? Stuff like that. And I thought people were sabotaging my car, because my car actually broke down. My white Mazda, while I lived there. I went to Rent-A-Wreck to rent a car, just so I could go to work, and that broke down. And I was parking it away, not in the condo parking lot, but way down the street, like 20-25 minute walk in some shopping center, because I didn't trust to leave it in my condo parking lot, because I thought people were sabotaging my car. And I remember walking down to the car, and some guy in a truck stops, like a bread truck, like one of those kind of trucks, asked me if I wanted to ride. I said no. I got to my car, it wouldn't start. So now the Rent-A-Wreck lives up to its name. It wouldn't start. So I just on an impulse one day, I bought a new car, and I had $4,000 of my own money, and I bought a Mazda Protege, gray Mazda Protege, and I would stay up all night. First of all, I had an alarm system put on it. I would stay up all night looking out the window to make sure nobody was sabotaging my car. And I had an alarm system put on it. I went to a shopping center to buy some groceries one day, and my hubcap was stolen. I hadn't had the car that long, maybe a month or so. I don't know, my hubcap. And I never did replace it. I never did. It was without a hubcap for as long as I had it. I bought it in '93. And it actually was the car I drove to New York in 2005. Now I would see when I said little worm, and then I would look out my window, and Candy sitting in her car, and she would catch my eye, I would catch her, she would give me a little wave or something like that. There was just this little shit going on. So she got mad at this. She sent some BS bulletin about life at Seasons Glen condominiums. So at that time I think I was doing I was doing something with AP headlines. Oh, we were still in New York. I was doing a trial run or something, and It was still in the planning stages. But anyway, so I was doing those headlights. I took the letters and I cut out the letters, phony bullshit bulletin, and I pasted it on there. And I put it on her door. And then, of course she didn't like that. But she didn't say so many words. But yeah, and I also mooned her. I didn't think anybody saw that, but I think she did. I mean, I was in my condo in my house, and which faced her office. So you know, so I had a whole thing going with her like that. But yeah, I know everybody knows about that. But anyway, so some things that I don't want to mention, I'm not going to mention. If I don't want to mention it, I won't mention it. But, so then after I did that, I thought she must have complained to my bosses because the font all of a sudden changed on the headlines, the font, the size of the font and the letters. But, I just got a feeling like she complained to them, but I don't know. And when I just, when I finally flipped out and I had to leave, she offered to sell the condo for me, and she actually did. She sold it, so I didn't get I don't know how long it took. I was down here, and she sold it. So some girl, I forget when it was. Now it wasn't too long after I got out of the hospital from up there. And she said, "Oh, you can use me as a reference if you ever need to." So I did a couple times, and then much later on, I tried to call her up once, and the number was disconnected, or it was some store or something, but it wasn't the number. It wasn't her number anymore. It wasn't her number. Okay, so this is ShopRite, so I'm going to the Dollar Tree. Oh, and I'm going to the bank first. That's right, I gotta cross the street, right? Okay, across the street. So, TD Bank. I'm putting this in my pocket. Yeah. Oh, I didn't put it on there. Sorry. Yeah, it's right here. No, that's okay.
Over here. How are you today?
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Okay, so now I'm checking my money. See if I have. What amounts to $1. Let me put my camera down and check it now. Yes, I do. So, I'm going. It's up here. And I'm going to put this in my pocket, okay, for the record. My zip pocket. And zipping it shut. I'm going to cross this way. Yeah, John Cotter, Cotter. He had blonde hair, blue eyes, sort of longish blonde hair. You know, not real long, little on the longish side. He's a good-looking guy. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so there's people who aren't, really dead. So I guess he's another one. I mean, it's possible, right? Probable. Yeah, when I first went to the Woman's World, he took me out to lunch and talked about the Star Ledger. I was there for like a week, and I wanted to go back to the Star Ledger. And I called up Mort Pye, and because Mort Pye had said, you can come back, but I called them up, but there were no openings, so it's just as well, I guess. One time I was coming home from here, so it had to be the dollar store here. There's some hot dogs on the ground. Package of hot dogs. So that's the weird landscape around here. Oh yeah, Applegate Garden Center, it's gone. It's now but the sign's still there. This is a donut place, which is a no-name, Go Nuts store? I don't know. It's a new place. So in here where I'm going is where the Radio Shack is, where I went this summer several times to buy a cell phone, none of which worked. So I wound up. So now I don't have a cell phone, and I can't afford to even buy another one. But it's also where the Food Town used to be. The Food Town was more expensive than the ShopRite. They went out of business. And then we got a Clark's Market, and they were just as expensive as the Food Town, meaning more expensive than the ShopRite, so they went out of business. But their sign is still there. We have Bubba Coos burritos. That used to be a Burger King, actually. Clark's Market. Actually, at the time that my parents were alive, the ShopRite was an A&P. The A&P closed after my mother died, and they built a ShopRite. It was an A&P at that time. Well, anyway. Oh, so. Yeah, I was in this place once, Clark's, just to see what it was. And it was too expensive. So I actually never bought anything in here. So the sign is still there. I don't know if you can see it, but it went out of business a while ago. And the Dollar Tree is right next door. So the Dollar Tree is good because everything in there is just $1. Whereas some other dollar stores, it's not always the case. So I don't know how long this tape is going to last. I guess I'll just let it run then. Till my battery dies. Oh, I don't mean tape. I mean how long my battery's going to last. It's supposed to last a couple hours, but it never does. It's fully charged.